Hi guys, and welcome back to Adam's Aquatics. In today's video, it's Tuesday, so we're going to go through exactly the ins and outs and the going-ons in the fish room this week, where I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, some ups and downs, some sideways movements, and some thoughts on what I'm going to do in the future. Okay, so let's start off with the display tank, and I honestly can't tell you how much I love this little guy down here. Big Herc, my histogram with the AHA. He is just the most amazing fish in this tank. If you look at him, he's great, and I love watching him. He's like no other histogram that I've got. He's crazy, silly. He tolerates all other fish, but also when they get out of line, he kind of puts them in line, and it's really fun to watch. So he is he's in charge of this tank, and actually whatever he says goes. And the tank hierarchy is really settled down now. And we've obviously got another couple of little dwarf cichlids in this tank. I've got just a regular German blue ram, Kaya, and I've obviously got this unknown male at the moment, which is the last of the males from Apollo and Aphrodite's spawn. Now, this guy is going to be on his way to a new home soon. I just want to make sure that he's healthy before I pass him on, along with one of the other females from Set's tank, just because the trio situation is not working out, which I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, if all of my fish turn out as good quality as this guy does in the future, then I'll be so happy with what's going on, because you know, the amount of growth and everything that I've got out of him so quickly has been amazing. So I don't know if I've mentioned it in previous videos, but I'm going to go over it again. We have been hatching out baby brine shrimp in the fish room this week. We started it again because I just got lazy. Basically, I was out of my routine, and I just got lazy in the fact that I just couldn't be bothered to hatch it every day, twice a day. But I'm doing it now, twice a day, AM, PM. And we're also growing some of the brine shrimp into adult brine shrimp. So I'm going to show you those three setups now. So this is obviously the PM one, because this is nearly ready to go. This is the AM one, because it's just literally been put on a couple of hours ago. And you can see that it's nowhere near this colour. Now this colour will go even darker orange by the time it's ready to go. This guy's normally ready by about 6 o'clock, that's when I come home from work, and this guy I put on at 7 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I put it on at 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's when I leave for work. Now, I was coming to the point where I was hatching brine shrimp all the time, and I had so much left over, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And I was kind of in one of those positions where I was like, well, what do I do with this leftover brine shrimp? Because if I keep feeding it, then I'm going to get loads of hydra again. I don't want that. So what I did was I set up this bottle, so a drinks bottle, one of my fizzy water bottles. I cut the top off, and I put salt water in there, and I've been putting some of the brine shrimp, like the spillover brine shrimp in there, and they've been surviving. Now, I didn't really know that they were going to survive, to be honest, but yeah, they've been surviving, and it also helps me to give brine shrimp during the day, so I can just turkey based out a little bit during the day. It keeps the brine shrimp alive, whereas if I keep them in the hatchery for too long, then they keep spilling into each other and then they die. So I'm going to show you exactly how. So I've got this little air stone in here in this bottle, and I've got the brine shrimp in here. So if I pull this out, you'll be able to see it. So you're wondering, why is the water green? Because I researched that the best thing to feed brine shrimp, baby brine shrimp, in order to get them to grow is spirulina, and I've had some spirulina in the fish room. So there's loads of brine shrimp in here. You can see them all swimming around. And you know, this was hatched out yesterday morning, so this has been alive for 48, 50 hours. And I'm hopefully going to grow them into adult brine shrimp, so that I can feed some of my larger fish some of the brine shrimp that I grow. Now, the original plan before I found out that my Pistogramma Elizabethae red female had been injured by the male, was to set up that tiny little hospital grower tank as a baby brine shrimp grow out, in order to grow them into adult brine shrimp. Because I don't want loads of open containers for salt water, because it stinks. So that was originally the plan, but obviously she got sick. Well, not sick, she got injured, and he beat the crap out of her. So yeah, that's where we are at with that. She's doing okay. She's eating loads of baby brine shrimp, and that's what I've been feeding her to get her healthy again. I think that's the best thing for her, is to keep feeding her baby brine shrimp and make sure she gets nice and healthy. I want to see her darting about that tank before I put her back in there with him, because I've been doing the mirror trick with him, and he's super aggressive to the mirror. So I see the kind of wrath that she kind of got from him when she didn't give him what he wanted. So that's kind of where we're at with her. I'm not going to show you her because I don't really want to show you a sick or injured fish. But just know that she's okay. I'll show you him because he's fine. I actually love watching him. But I forgot when I moved the shell dwellers from the bottom to their new tank, I actually love sitting on the floor and watching the fish. So I do still watch the shell dwellers, and they're obviously still my favourite tank because of the setup and how I just love watching that tank. It's the dimensions and just the low light, and because basically they just get the light from the room because they don't have any light on their tank. I was going to put a light on their tank, but I thought, nah. So I'm going to go over this then because this is what I mean. Like, you just see the natural, not the natural light, but like the light from the room. So it doesn't have a direct light directly onto the tank. And actually, I really love just watching these guys. But I also forgot how much I love just sitting here in the morning, drinking my coffee, just sit here chilling against here, and how much actually I just love sitting there watching that tank. So that's kind of why I love watching him swim around. But these guys, she had Fry, this little in here. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they're still in here or not because there's so many crevices. They could be hiding under there. They could be hiding in the shells. They could be hiding in the gravel. I don't know. But I keep putting baby brine shrimp in, and I keep turkey basting it in and around this area, so that if there is fry in this tank, that they're getting some food. Because these guys, as we well know, are absolute maniacs for the food. You know, no food survives in here. There's never going to be any like hydra or anything in here because they just hoover everything. Like, I put a brine shrimp in here and I eat it. I just absolutely love these guys. In the new fish room, when I design the building from start to finish, I'm going to have a few more different species of shell dwellers and possibly some rock dwellers. Now, I obviously mentioned in a previous video that I kind of wanted my theme of my room at the moment to be South America. So I've thought about when I go to the new fish room and what exactly I'm going to do. Now, when I walk into the fish room, I want one side to be South America and I want one side to be Africa. And that's kind of where I'm going to be at when I move to the new fish room. And potentially the display tank by then, because my new house isn't going to be ready till February, potentially by then the display tank will be torn down and we'll have some bigger either South American or American or South or African cichlids in there, because I think that's a bit of a waste of a tank for the what I've decided is that I actually prefer to watch a few fish, like 2 or 3, in a tank that's appropriately sized for them. So that's essentially these. Now this tank, the display tank, was custom built for me, so it's irregular dimensions because I just designed how I wanted it to look. So let's just go over some other bits that's gone on in the fish room this week. Obviously, Apollo and Aphrodite have been going well as always, which I'm going to show you them now. There's Apollo down there, he's sulking as always after a water change, always sulks. Aphrodite's down here in the tank down here now. I'm still waiting for Fry. I tried to boost the temp this morning, so they've been sitting around 24.5. And I've boosted it up to 25.1 at the moment. I'm trying to get it up to around 26 in order to make them try and breed again, because I think this tank was around 26 the first time that I had them breed, and the second time I had them breed when I messed it up. So I'm going to try and boost the temp, see what happens. That's the plan for this tank anyway. This fern's growing really well. The crypts down the front are dying off again, don't know why. They just don't seem to do well in this tank. But all the rest of the plants in this tank do really well. Loads of Anubias, like this guy here, nice and bushy now. All the Anubias up here, wrapped in the twig. The Amazon sword doing really well. I just love this tank. The best laid out tank that I've got. Maybe access together now. I don't know if you guys know, or if this just happened out of sync with what's going on. But yeah, the guys are together now. I'm pretty sure this guy here is the male and this one here's the female. They look very similar at the moment because he's not really growing a lot at the moment, but they're getting on great now. Like they tolerate each other. There's no chasing. There's no nothing. They get on great, and And this tank needs some more plants, in my opinion. So I'm going to cut some from another tank in order to get the clippings to grow in this tank. I think that'll do fine. Big Mars. I've really been happy with him this week. Like, he's been in real good form, really happy. He hates the camera, but he but he doesn't shy away from it. So he just comes and he shows off, and he like tells me to go away when I've got the camera in his face. And I'm hoping that Venus has got some eggs in here at the moment. I feel like she keeps eating them though. So she did have some. She did have some last week, and I turned the pot over too early, and then either the eggs didn't hatch because he didn't fertilise them, or because she ate them. I'm not sure which one. So we moved all the fry from the grow out trays to a breeder box. So we did this because I want to make the breeder box ready for harder water fish, so my shell dwellers. And I also got another breeder box down here. So I'm going to go into what exactly has gone on. So I had 30 fry. 11 survived when I moved them into here because I wasn't really prepared for the swings in the pH, and that was my fault. And I've kind of learned from that. So I was putting the harder water, because over here on this side of the fish room is where I put all the harder water fish. So I keep everything in harder water except for the big grow out tray, which I don't. And I forgot that I was kept on using hard water in the grow out box. And then when I moved them back over to here, I've got soft water, and they got like most of the fry got shocked. This is a week ago now. Everyone else is like settled, and everyone else is fine, and they're growing great. It was just my fault, and I made a stupid mistake. It happens. Like I said, I'm always learning as an aquarist. I'm always learning as a hobbyist, and I'm just quite happy with that. I've got 11 that are growing nice and healthy now, and now that I've got them on baby brine strip every day, they're growing really crazy. So it's gonna be nice and quick, and then once I get them to a reasonable size, they'll go into the big grow out tray, the big grow out tote, and then we'll go from there. So Percy and his female, you're about to see him go at her. See, I've still not had any breeding action. I'm not really too sure what to do in order to get them to breed, to be honest. I've been doing some research, I've been doing all sorts of, information grabbing and all sorts, to see what I can do in order to get them to spawn. I'm doing everything I can. I guess it's just time now. I might try boosting the temp, and that seems to have worked on a few other tanks. So because this tank is so close to the door, and this is the external door, it is probably one of the cooler in the tanks. Unlike this one, which is obviously the ram's directly below, but that's got a heater in it set at 29 degrees. So maybe I need to boost the temp in order to get them to spawn. That's a good thought as I'm making this video. So I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to boost the temp in that tank. I'm going to put a little heater in there, boost it up to 25, because it's probably around 24, and see what happens. You're going to think 24 is a bit low for tropical fish, but Agassizi are one of the more cold tolerant fish at Pistograma. So I'm just going to give it a go, see what happens. My black rams, my little female Pandora, and my big male Achilles. Doing really well, always begging for food. I need to sort this tank out. So the plan is to remove this tree. The tree goes in with the Elizabethae, and then build some rocks and put some slates down and just redo this tank completely, because it's not conducive for their breeding, and I'm not getting any fry yet. Now they're still quite young. I've had them for 3 months, maybe 12 weeks, maybe a bit longer. But I'm not getting any fry, and I'm getting a bit antsy around it, because every month that you don't get fry from a pair, or every week that you don't get fry, let's just say every month that you don't get fry from a pair, you're kind of investing into, something that is not outputting. And I think these guys will definitely breed, because obviously I've had them spawn before, and I should have just removed the fry. I should have just removed the fry. Everything that I've read and everything that I've seen says remove the fry, but thinking I know better, didn't remove the fry, and then they ended up, none of them survived. So appreciate them all. So I've learned, definitely remove the fry. Okay, Osiris down here, as always. This is the little fry that survived. It has survived in this tank. He's probably as big, if not bigger, than the ones in the grow out box. He has to hide from his dad, because obviously his dad will eat him. Mum and Dad are preparing to spawn again. Mum and Dad have spawned again. Here is some of the fry. There's probably about the same amount, about 13 in here. There's 2 down here. Let me see if I can get their eyes. Like, you can see that it lies there. There we go. Yeah. Like I said in my previous video, these guys are prolific. I see fry from them all the time. I remove the fry when I can. I'm really happy with them. Baby brine shrimp already in this little grout box. Swimming around nicely. You know, I'm going to do my best to try and raise these guys up. I've never raised them from this smaller fry in a grow out breeder box, but I think it'd be the same as growing them out in the totes. So I'm just going to cut some sponge for the outtake, because I don't want any of them once they're too small. Because the reason I put this divider in here is because it's supposed to not let them swim between the things, and then they should be able to get out. But then I forgot that they'd be absolutely minuscule and they'd be able to fit through the grates. So they were able to swim through the grates already. When they get a bit bigger, they won't be able to. So I'm going to remove the grate for now and go from there. But yeah, like I said before, that I'm really happy with my grow out and my fry process and stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep going with it, and just if these guys are the only guys that are going to give me, fry on a regular basis, then these guys are the only guys that are going to give me fry on a regular basis. And actually, I'm quite happy with them. Like, I feel like they both, like, he's, like I said in my previous video, an absolute monster. He eats like crazy, and like, he loves life. And she just keeps producing babies, and it's not as if this tank's cold. Like, well, not cold. It's 24 and a half, between 24 and a half and 25 on a daily basis, because it's in the middle of the two. This one's 24. This one's 29. In the middle, 25 and a half, 25, 24 and a half. It doesn't really swing on a daily basis, but you know, there's actually 2 fry in here that I've just noticed. So we've got lots of generations going on in this tank. I think I'm going to have to remove the fry before the smaller fry, and then they incur their dad's wrath. Like I said before, though, he's an absolutely fantastic father. Like, in comparison to the others, these guys just breed and look after their fry, and breed and look after their fry. Like, if only I could have them in this display tank, I'd have a whole tank of Epistogramma and McMaster Gold. Because, and if you think back to it, who would have thought this would have happened when he killed his first female? Because I didn't think that. I honestly thought he continually killed females over and over and over and over and over again. But actually, this new female he settled in with, and they just continually produce me fry. So I think that goes back to somebody told me something, that Epistogrammas have to like their females, or they have to like each other in order to produce. So maybe there are some odd pairings in the fish room, if that makes sense. And maybe I have to look into that and see what I can do to make the pairings better. So I'm just going to use this sponge for the outtake sponge. I'm just going to cut a little bit off. I'll do 2, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. So I need both hands, because I've got these pathetic little scissors. So I'll cut them both. There's one for the more mature, and there's one for these guys. It will stop any fry from escaping, and then ending up back in the aquariums, as we've already seen. For me, that happens all the time, so I need to do a better job of not allowing the fry to escape into the aquariums, because otherwise they'll end up either getting eaten or growing to the point where I need to catch them out. So Set and his trio, so him and the 2 girls, it's not really working out, if I'm honest. I'm going to leave him in here with the bigger of the females, so this girl here, and remove the smaller female. I don't even know where he is. Oh, there he is. There's just too much aggression between the 2 females, and he doesn't really do what he can to stop the aggression. He just kind of floats about and I don't feel like with there being two females he's taken a particular liking to either. Now actually he might have actually taken a liking to the smaller female, maybe I get rid of the bigger female, because if you actually look at the behaviour between the two of them, the smaller female's in this one here, and potentially we might see some breeding action as we speak, and then everything that I was just talking about was complete rubbish, which is quite clear. So he clearly prefers the smaller female. So the bigger female, she's going to be moved on to another home. I've got another home for them lined up, and yeah, I'm just ready for that to happen. So like I said, I had to rescape this tank, or just reorganise it. I don't say escape because I don't plant the plants. But there's Erebos down there, loving life. Absolutely amazing looking fish. I honestly can't tell you. So pleased with him. I really just hope his female manages to get back to health. She seems to be having a bit more life today than she has done for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm really happy with her, really happy with him. I just need to make sure that she gets healthy again. Hopefully the loss of the eye doesn't cause too much of an issue. So that goes back to my video about managing aggression in aquariums. Make sure you go check that out. You know, you can do everything you can, and then a fish can still turn on another fish, and that happens. So that pretty much sums out for another week. I'm really happy with what's going on in the fishing this week, barring obviously the female Elizabethy getting injured, more growing out of fry, more fish ideas, more, you know, I've got so many ideas as to what I want to do in the future. I'm just really looking forward to the house being built, moving in, and then starting the building in the garden, to be honest. Whereas my girlfriend's kind of like crazy, wants to move in there because she wants to be moving into the new house, whereas I'm just like, yeah, let's get in there so I can start building my fish room in the garden. But I'm really happy, really excited. Thank you for joining. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram at adams.aquatics, and come and join me again next time on Thursday for another video.